worked together before, yeah?
Yes, a few times. You know, in the theater, it is extraordinarily collaborative. No one does it alone. It takes many, many people to make it work well. You constantly are on the lookout for people who are on the same page, have the same understanding, the same creative impulse. And I found that when I found Gene a few years ago. He's an incredible collaborator, and the whole thing is, with both of us, everything is about serving the drama well and telling that story as clearly and effectively and surprisingly and as theatrically as possible. And to find someone who's flexible, has no ego associated, really. It's just about, you know, I can comment on his work, he can comment on mine, and we're both just trying to make each other's work better so that the story is told well. And that's, those people you just hang on to. So Gene and I have done a lot of work together, and we'll continue to do so.
This is your third collaboration, yes? Seven. Oh.
We've done 3 stage works.
Right, and they are To Hell and Back.
4 stage works. To Hell and Back, For a Look or a Touch, which Morgan gave the premiere on. 3 Decembers, and Moby-Dick, those 4 stage works. And then 3 song cycles.
Right. Rise and Fall.
Rise and Fall, Statuesque for Joyce Castle.
And Friendly Persuasions.
Right.
Is it different every time? Every time you work together, or the dynamics different?
The dynamic isn't different. The working method is the same, and I think that's what it appeals to us, that we found something that feels right as rain, so we come back to it. But of course, each project is different.
Right.
And,
does it take on its own life? Does each project?
Sure. And the goal is to find projects that are different, so that they stimulate a different part of our imaginations. I think all creative artists live in dread of just repeating yourself over and over. And I know we both do. We don't want to do that. If we've told something and we've done it well, I'm ready to explore new territory. I'm ready for that to influence me and lead me somewhere. But
and if it's not slightly frightening, you don't want to be involved.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's true.
If it's not frightening, you know, you probably want to avoid starting there, because you want something that's going to challenge you and help you to grow in different ways and explore different aspects of yourself and the human condition.
And this was easily one of the most frightening things either of us has ever done.
Absolutely.
To take a 700-page, or however many pages, depending on which edition you're using, a big novel, and distill it down to a 50 to 60-page libretto that allows time for music, for action, and to tell it theatrically, so that you're not just trying to put the book on the stage, but paying the best kind of homage you can to the book by using it as a starting point and going somewhere else. And while still maintaining the spirit and the general story of the book. It was a tremendous challenge. I knew from the start that there was a wealth of music there. I mean, if you read the book, just listening to what Walt and Duncan were talking about, the kind of world that Melville found him in, the kind of world he wanted to write about, there's music everywhere in that language and in the circumstances and the environment. So I knew the music was there. What I did not envy was how Gene was going to turn that and distill it into a workable libretto with clear dramatic threads, and to tell a story that would be engaging to an audience, and that would allow for spaces where the music just leads everything.
Did you find, especially Eugene, that there are scenes, chapters in the book that seem ready-made for opera?
Absolutely.
Like Midnight for Castle,
yeah,
for instance, which is a huge scene for basically everybody that he writes, even like a play.
I think, when I'm reading something as a potential piece for the stage, I am looking for the layups. I'm looking for those moments that are just sort of slam dunks, where you just know. And there are certain moments in this. Certainly, our end of Act 1, the moment when Starbuck goes into Ahab's cabin and Ahab is sleeping, and he has to decide whether he's going to kill him or not. It's a Hamlet moment. It's to be or not to be, or to do it or not to do it. And you want for both of us, what we're looking for are these moments where you're watching real decisions being made in stage in the moment. I mean, what we were trying to avoid was people talking about their feelings and I love you, or I hate you, or I remember when. You actually want to see the conflict unfold in front of your eyes. And there's plenty of conflict actually in the story. There's, of course, some fascinating and incredible stuff about cytology and so forth that's woven through the book. But there are these conflicts. That was one. Pip's moment when he reflects on Queequeg dying is, to me, that was actually the first thing I sort of circled. And we'll actually hear that today. It just spoke to me immediately. And there are these moments that are laced throughout the book.
Part of the thing with writing a drama for the stage, or writing any story, but particularly with a drama, especially I think for an opera, because that stage works differently than other stages. It's not a play, so it's not a straight drama, and it's not a concert. It's the combination of both those elements and how they work together. You have to know where you're starting, you have to know where you're ending. You have to know, and then if you're, we decided to do a 2-act structure, so you have to know, well, what happens? Where are we going to at the end of Act 1? Where does Act 2 take off? And how do we get to that last moment? So we were on the same page about the general trajectory of the piece, and then it was deciding, well, who are the main characters? We were allowed 8 principal singers. Initially, we only had 7, and then I called Jonathan, can I have another principal character? And he said, okay. And, so we had 8 principal characters, and, out of this vast world of people on stage, and then we knew we had a men's chorus for the crew, and this orchestra, massive orchestra to do all the painting throughout, and tell the story as well. But knowing where you're starting, knowing where you're going, and then deciding from within the book, how would we reorganize events to get that storyline going. And with all due respect, you do have to do some of that. I mean, you can't just go in the order that Melville wrote. You kind of have to go back and forth in order to do it actively rather than just reflectively all the time.